Showing on this episode of Law Weekly, an exclusive interview with the Chief Judge of Lagos on some of the challenges confronting legal practitioners in the courts. Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Shola Shoyeli. Issues of virtual court hearings, the shortcomings of the e-filing system, and the proposed amendment seeking to put retirement age of all judges of superior records at 70. These were some of the questions I put to the Chief Judge of Lagos, Justice Kazeem Alugba, when I got a rare opportunity to have this exclusive interview. The Lagos judiciary is the busiest judiciary in the country with about 7,000 cases filed every year. The 17th Chief Judge, Justice Alugba, has the Herculean task of being the Chief Administrative Officer as well as the spokesperson for the judicial branch. The sad incident of the Lagos High Court Igbochire, which was touched and looted on October 21, 2020, by some hoodlums who hijacked the NSAS protest, is the starting point of my conversation with the Chief Judge. Against the background of reactions trailing the recent demolition of the court, with many wondering why such a national monument has to be pulled down instead of being preserved for historical reference, as is done in some more advanced climes, I began by asking the CJ his views on the move to build a modern edifice, if he was consulted and carried along in the plans, and how the court is generally moving on from the damage done to the administration of justice in the state.
Let me start this way. Those people who are suggesting that we should keep the relics of a damaged edifice, is it meant to be a reminder of what happened? And secondly, again, considering land space in Lagos State, where else could we have possibly gotten as much land as we'll be able to put in the new edifice? Thirdly, again, I was consulted before the design of the new edifice. And I, along with the admin judges and some other judges, sat not once, not twice, with the consultants, particularly the architects and the builders, on the new design of the building which is supposed to be put up there. The very first thing we agreed on was, as much as possible, the facade of the old premises should be maintained. Those naily lions are still there, untouched. They are likely to be left there like that. They have been factored into what new building will come into place. The Lady of Justice, too, will be replaced there. And then naturally, you cannot have an old place standing there forever. Even if it was not maliciously damaged as it was, necessity for a modern edifice will come in, depending on the use. How many cores did we have there before it was torn down? How many cores do we need now? All these have been taken into consideration. And I think it's projected to house about 40 courts, 40 high courts.
Spacious courts.
Very spacious courts. We went into all details, as much as possible, even into the sizes of the courtrooms, the chambers, the secretary's offices, and all other appertaining facilities in the premises. So it is going to be a beauty to behold when it comes alive, by the grace of God.
I'm sure people will be happy about the fact that we are keeping the facade, because a lot of people say that is what is done in other climes to preserve it as a national monument.
We are doing that.
Milo, what can you tell us about how the court is moving on in terms of records, keeping, and all of that?
We didn't lose all our records. We didn't. You know, Ikeja was not affected. So even in the Lagos Judicial Division that was affected, we didn't lose all our records. We lost a lot, no doubt. But we were lucky that we still found some of the records. And they are still there in our custody here in Ikeja. Particularly our archives. We still had a sizable number of records in our archives that were not touched. Even when demolition started, In some other areas where we could not access because of the debris after the burning down, we still found some of our records. But in terms of the records that we lost, let me go a bit historical by saying that since 2013, we started the GIS system, that's Judiciary Information System. And since then, cases that were filed from 2013, records were stored in the clouds. It is from that storage that we were able to reconstruct and reproduce so many files. And I think we reproduced not less than 3,000 case files. And that has helped us in getting the cases back on their feet. Whatever record is not found in any case file reproduced, it is open to counsel on both sides to now sit and say, well, I filed this statement of defense. It's not in the record. They will agree. Once the other party was served, he will acknowledge, oh, yes, I got this. So you can agree. That comes into the file. We certify it for you, and it's already part of the record of the court. And then the case is ready to move on. I know that quite a number of cases have started moving on after the NSAS event.
My Lord, at the Great Homecoming reunion of the University of Lagos alumni, which held recently, I listened to my Lord Justice, the admin judge of Ikeja, Justice Oluwatoyin Inquiry, talk about how busy the Lagos courts are. And a lot of people, she talked about the number of cases that get filed and how busy and all the work that the judges put in. But what a lot of people are interested in, because we know how overworked some of our judges are there plans to increase the number of judges in Lagos State Judiciary?
You see, appointment of judges is not just done by tipping the finger. It's based on budgeting. You get your judges appointed by the number given to you by NJC. NJC has its own budget. So in the preceding year, you will have put up your application before them. You will probably be asking for 12. They will tell you, I can only give you 8. So it is a summation of all these requests from all the judiciaries in the Federation that they now put into computation of their budget for the next year. So that
the judiciary doesn't get the number that it asks for most times.
Historically, we got more than what we asked for this time around. And it has never happened before in any judiciary. We went for 12, but they gave us 14 in acknowledgement not only of the caliber of aspirants that we had, but also of our need. They are quite aware of our docket, and they know that we needed more hands on deck. And so they asked me on that day when we went for the interview, CJ Lagos, we have seen the people you brought. These are people who are overqualified to be on the High Court bench. And we are willing to bend backwards and give you more. Would we be able to accommodate that? And gladly I said, I'm most grateful, my Lord. I will tell my governor he will accommodate more.
So, my Lord, does that mean that we now have enough judges in Lagos?
Not enough, but certainly we have more hands on deck. That's the way I'll put it. And they're undergoing internship with other judges now. That will soon end, probably next week. They will have some bit of internal training. And thereafter, they will proceed to Abuja for the induction course for newly appointed judges. And then they'll come back and be on their own.
Okay, we'll look forward to that. My Lord, one innovation that was introduced to check delays in our court system is the electronic filing system. And when I put it out on social media that I was going to get an opportunity to have an exclusive interview with the CJ, this was the issue that a lot of people wanted me to ask the CJ. In fact, one person said, the current filing process is so frustrating. To file a simple affidavit, it can take 3 days. Sometimes our litigation officers will get to the court as early as 5 a.m., and they will get number 37. And even at 5 p.m., it hasn't gotten to their turn. But that once you're willing to tip some of the judicial workers in place, then they can fast track you. Is my Lord aware of this?
I'm aware of complaints. But the truth of the matter is that I don't want to give 100% clean bill of health to the judiciary. But the public that we serve to have a lot to contribute to in ensuring that the system works well. One, and the major issue, is the issue of uploading. Litigants are meant to upload themselves. They don't need to come to the court to upload.
And this is what most of them do.
Yes, that's what most of them do. Either because they didn't know how to do it, or they just simply won't do it. Now they come to court to upload. Our staff who are meant to go to the next level, the next stage of processing after uploading, are these same staff
that are busy helping them.
Attend to them, helping them to upload at no fee.
That part is debatable.
So naturally, at no fee.
That part about no fee is debatable because
at no fee.
A lot of them say that they pay money to fast track
I want to
the process.
talk about what is legitimate, not what goes on under the table, because it takes two to tango. True. If you choose to go and give anybody money, then you are a participant criminals. So you cannot complain. If it is a legitimate service that ought to be given to you after you have paid for it, you insist on it. If it's not given to you, then you complain to me. Then I can take steps. But I have not been able to be furnished with any clear case of compromise so that we could take steps.
How can people complain, my Lord? What channel do they complain
In
to?
the first place, each unit has a head. If you complain to the head of the unit and you are not satisfied, you go to the next level. For example, in litigation, if filing is in litigation, you have the ACR there. You have the person who is in charge of e-filing. If you are not satisfied with the service offered there, you go to the ACR. If the ACR cannot satisfy you, you have an HOD, the head of department, who is a chief magistrate. I'm sure even if you cannot get satisfied at that level, you have the chief registrar. If you are such that you cannot still be satisfied by anything offered by chief registrar, the chief judge is there or the admin judge is still there before you get to the chief judge. If you have a legitimate complaint, you should be able to go through all the stages available to complain if you are sure that you are not compromising anybody along the line. So all these complaints in most cases are not really legitimate.
Because the other day we heard that litigants were even almost fighting at TBS and they were calling us frantically to bring our cameras there, that the e-filing process is not working. It's frustrating.
TBS, there's a problem. One, we are not the owners of that building. You have the Nigerian Broadcasting Commission there. I understand that they have some equipment which could interfere with our facilities being used at the e-filing units there. Secondly, because of the effect of NSAS on us, we have had no space. We are still struggling for spaces, even for so many court officers, as we speak.
At TBS particularly?
At TBS it is worse, because that is the only building we are left with in the Lagos Judicial Division. We cannot take JIS to a Tinubu court. No space. So that's the only building that is available to us on the Lagos Island. And so we have had to use the basement. That was the only space we could get for them, at least for them to move immediately. So being at the basement also contributes to the problem of connectivity there. I don't want to say what I'm not too sure of, but I understand that there is an equipment there that affects signals. So that affects the computers being used in the e-filing unit there. As we speak, I've been there a number of times myself. I've talked to lawyers there and I pointedly asked them, what are you doing here? I want to upload. Why are you coming here to upload?
Why not do it in
Are
your
you
office?
not meant to upload in your own place? But because they are people we offer service, we can't do without them. Although there's a limit to which we should tolerate what ought not to be. What did I do? I called on my GIS staff, the ICT staff. Let us assist these people the more, so that we can decrease the number of people coming to do e-filing at our premises. And they have given training to some branches of the Bar Association, free of charge. That much we have done for them. So as I speak, Lagos and Ikeja, they have had such free trainings. We still have Ikorodu, Epe, and Badagry. Because of the number, and because we want as many as possible to be able to attend, we are trying to ensure that they are taken together, and then they are also given that training. Before now, I decided that we will stop uploading for people at the end of February. But again, I had to bend backwards. All right, let's give them some more time, because we still want to give the training to MBA, Ikorodu, Badagry, and Ekpe. I will extend it till end of this month.
End of March.
End of March. I'm going to have a bar bench forum meeting with the bar, I think mid this month. I will officially disclose that to them.
A lot of people acknowledge that Lagos Court was one of the first to start virtual hearings. But a lot of people also say that 2 years down the line, it seems that most of our judges have abandoned virtual court sittings. This is feedback from lawyers.
It's not a correct rendition of what's on ground. In the first place, virtual hearing is secondary to physical hearing. But whenever you request your proceedings to be conducted virtually, it is automatically approved by me and put on notice to the judge. And judges have always been ready to quote me. No judge has ever declined hearing anybody virtually.
There's another one, my lord. A lot of lawyers say that they observe with dismay how the directive that courts give prior notice of sitting when they will not sit, that they give prior notice to counsel and litigants. But that many of them get to court and prior notice has not been given. In fact, somebody was giving me a case, a butemeta, they just got to court, no notice, the registrar was not even there.
I do not want to confirm all this. I like to have facts. If any such person is sure of what he's saying, let him or her complain in writing.
In writing.
But that's not to say that I've not had some complaints. In truth, and we've investigated. But many a times, you find that they have embellished what actually transpired. But all I can say is that we will improve on that. But that courts care less about the welfare and convenience of lawyers and litigants, not in Lagos State.
Not in
I
Lagos.
maintain that.
My lord, somebody also said that why is it a common practice that magistrates are transferred or changed without replacement, leaving lawyers and litigants to continue to visit courts repeatedly without directives?
That is not correct. It has never been correct. It is still not correct. Naturally, magistrates are not left in any particular jurisdiction or location for his entire service life. They are bound to be transferred from time to time to different courts and jurisdictions so as not to allow for corruption. That's one thing. Seniority also comes in. As they grow on the bench, you probably get them to places where they have much more serious work to do, commensurate with their experience. But anytime a magistrate is transferred, that's by posting. No posting is done before a replacement is found for that court. For example, and it gladdens my heart to let you know that 5 of my magistrates became judges in the last exercise. That immediately warranted new postings. But it doesn't come immediately. At the very best, within a month, that will have been sorted out. And naturally, if anybody who had a case in such a court goes to court, is told to come back at a particular date, by which time the new magistrate will have been posted and will have resumed. But most of the time, you find lawyers sending litigation officers. I don't want to give their qualifications. And those people will either not get to the courts and give them correct reports. Because even from experience, when such litigation officers have reported certain things to their seniors, and the senior comes the next adjourned date, and you confront them with the facts, some will apologize. I'm sorry, my lord, I didn't know that. That's how it went. Like I said, I'm not giving us 100% clean bill of health. There is no system that is perfect. We are not perfect, but I beat my chest and say we are doing very well in the circumstances in which we have found ourselves. Magistrates are sitting in rotation. They are appearing in courts, in some court 3. So how do we expect cases to move as fast as if each magistrate has his own courts? What about the inconvenience to such magistrates? A magistrate is supposed to have his personal chambers. He cannot have it. If he had his personal chambers, if he was sitting in his own court, then of course he will have time to go back after sitting to probably write some quick rulings or even judgments or do some more work.
Sure. What are we doing about that, my lord?
Gratifying enough, GIS, they have started work on GIS. Yes, GIC Taylor building. Okay. They have started work on that. And when I spoke with those on site, don't let me quote them because it's unofficial, but I expect that in a few months' time, that place will be ready for us to use.
And then we can have magistrates sitting
in their own courts now.
And things will move faster.
By the grace of God.
Finally, beloved, there's this question about constitutional amendments. There is a proposal which seeks to put the retirement age of all judges of Superior Court of Record to 70. What are my lord's thoughts about this? Is it a right move in the right direction?
I agree it's the right move in the right direction. But to the extent that they have gotten to a certain stage in the proposed amended bill, I don't want to make some comments. But to me, I think it should be left to the individual judge. But I make bold to say that if you think you are fit to continue after 65, you should be ready to submit yourself to a medical examination of fitness. Because I would love to work and retire and enjoy my retirement. I don't want to die in service. So it's a matter of individual choice.
Welcome back. The problem of e-filing is one that many lawyers in Lagos continue to describe as frustrating, and we have some of their views up next.
I was in court to file a process. I went as early, by 8 I was in court, 7, 8 I was in court. That's how early I had to go to file. And I already met a queue, and before I was attended to, I spent almost the whole day there. Some weeks back, the litigation officer in my firm went to file a process and he couldn't function because there was no light, and so he literally spent the entire day there in court because there was no light, power outage. So this issue of epileptic power supply is also posing an issue over here in the effectiveness of the e-filing system in Lagos State. And it is no gain, there's no gain saying that the e-filing system is here to stay, and it's with the advancement in technology and with the progressive movement in the world, it is very, very important that Lagos State rises to the occasion and works on ensuring the efficacy of this system.
Lawyers are the one losing the most because time, in terms of cost, this is not good enough, and this is not a rocket science. This is what the government can do better. They can create a court app, let lawyers be able to open a profile just like the one they have because the judiciary is having on their website. Create a court app, a strong court app cut up, then lawyers will be able to upload, not the one that lawyers can upload court processes in the office. To make payment is an issue. You make payment, sometimes you don't know where the money is. You try to upload, you find it so difficult until you get to the filing session at the court registry. This is not encouraging litigation process in Lagos State. The government, the judiciary have to do better than this.
That's the program this week. Thank you for watching. Please catch up with past episodes on our YouTube page. I am Shola Shayeli. See you next week.